Hello class. We're going to take a quick look at using Visual Studio. I'm going to go to my Start menu and locate Visual Studio 2022 that I have installed. And when it comes up, you'll see the Open Recent Projects window. You might see some additional windows to configure Visual Studio for your first use. You can select C# development as your development type, or you can just select the defaults. Eventually, you should get to this screen to start a new project. And I want to do that. I'm going to choose Create a New Project. And the first project I create is going to be a console app. So I can use this search bar up here at the top to search through the available templates for Visual Studio projects to find the console app template. And on my computer, I want to use this one that is popped up to the top of my list. Notice I have C# selected here. So the C# console app is the one that comes up to the top. And that's fine. I'll select that and choose Next. Now I can name my project and choose a location for my project. You'll see that we'll be using source code control, so where we save our project location-wise is not as important. So use the default location, which should be something on your C drive like this, and that's fine. And let's change our project name to First Project. And then I'm going to click Next to let Visual Studio create that project. Before doing so, it prompts me for the development framework that I want to use. And .NET 6.0 is our preferred framework at this time. If you're prompted to install any additional software, like Visual Studio .NET 6.0, go ahead and do that. Visual Studio should load, and you should see the Visual Studio interface on your screen. Mine is hiding from me. Here it is. So my first project doesn't have very much code, but that's okay because I want to use this opportunity to explore the Visual Studio interface more than looking at C# code. First of all, when my project opens, there are some really important areas of the screen. Like most Windows applications, we have a menu bar and a toolbar up at the top. And then we have several different windows or sub-windows open on our screen. Each of these windows has its own title bar, toolbar, and contents, so they're all really important as we use Visual Studio. The first window that's the largest here is my code window, and in my code window there is a tab that tells me the file name that I am looking at. So right here I'm looking at my C# source code that's contained in the file program.cs that's in my project. Now if I want to see a full view of my project, I can do that in the Solution Explorer window. Notice that you're going to have different tabs available than I do, that's okay, as long as you can see these main areas of the screen. Now my Solution Explorer window allows me to see my entire project and solution at an overview level, so it's very helpful, and I can see that in my project named First Project. I have that contained within a solution also named First Project. So notice my solution is the highest level, then I have the project level that has the C# logo. Then underneath my project, I eventually find my C# code file, my program.cs file. So again, that's the file that's open here in the code window. Now to run this project, I'm going to use my toolbar, and I can click the run button or play button, and that's going to run my first project. So let me do that. Now this is the console screen that has opened. So notice this console is not like your Xbox. It's just the primary kind of command prompt screen or console into our application view. There's only one console for the application, and it allows us to do basic user input and output. It is not graphical yet. Now on this console screen, I see the output from my C# program. It printed this message, "Hello World." After that are messages from Visual Studio telling me, information about the project, and that I can press any key to close this window. So I'll press a key, the console window will close, and I'll return back to my Visual Studio development environment. Now looking at Visual Studio this way, you can see that we do have a lot of different windows. Down at the bottom of the screen, I have an error list and an output window. I'm going to eliminate this required semicolon on this line of C# code, and I'm going to see an error displayed down in my error list. It tells me some great information. It says, first of all, that a semicolon was expected. Well, that makes sense because I deleted the semicolon, right? And it tells me what project I'm in, what file I was editing, and what line number of that file the error occurred on. So this error message will give me a lot of information. Additionally, if I double click on it, it will take my cursor to the position where the error was found. My cursor was already there, but double clicking does do that. Now that's double clicking on the message. If you double click or click on the error code, a web browser window will open giving you Microsoft help for that error. We don't really need to go to that level, so I'm happy with just double clicking. I'll add my semicolon back, and my error should go away. Notice it takes a little bit of hesitation as Visual Studio reevaluates my code and determines that an error is missing. No, not there. Good. Okay, now Visual Studio has all these different windows, and it's really easy to move them around or to open and close additional windows. Now, if my code window were closed, I'm going to close it. As I close it, I'm prompted to save my changes. So I'll say save. I shouldn't have any changes because I put that semicolon back. But now my code window is not available. I don't see it on my screen. So I can use my Solution Explorer to reopen my code window. In my Solution Explorer, I can locate my program.cs file and double click on it. to make my code window redisplay. Now, if my Solution Explorer window were to get closed, I'll close it up here in the corner. Listen to me. I have several windows open, so I'm going to close them all. Now nothing's showing up there. What in the world? How do I find my code if I've lost it? Well, I can use my View menu and choose Solution Explorer to reactivate the Solution Explorer window. Now, if I would like for this window to auto hide, I can unpin it using the push pin, and now my Solution Explorer window will auto hide and become a tab on the side. So I can click it to open my Solution Explorer window, find what I need, and then when I click someplace else, that window will auto hide. If I decide I'd like that window to stay open, again, I can use my push pin to pin it, and it will stay pinned and open. Now, if I have multiple monitors, I might want to move some of my windows off to other screens. So I can do that just like I can move a window around in Windows by clicking and holding and dragging it by its toolbar, title bar. I can do the same thing with Visual Studio Windows. So here with my Solution Explorer, I can grab that by its title bar and drag it completely out of Visual Studio off to another monitor so that I can maximize my development capability. Now, if I want to put it back, I can use this Snap to Grid gizmo there and just choose that area of the screen to drop my Solution Explorer. If I wanted it to be someplace else, I could choose that other area. And then I can move it again back over to its original location. Now I've gotten my windows kind of messed up with looking at things, and that can happen. So there's an easy way to fix the view. On your window menu, choose Reset Window Layout, and that will allow you to reset the window layout back to the default. Additionally, you can manage window layouts, and when you get your layout set the way you like it, you can save that layout and then use it to apply your screen. Now I'm going to restore the default so that all my windows go back to the way they were. Notice that on the default window, you might not be seeing that error screen, but if I create an error, I can easily access it again by clicking on this error tab, and that will redisplay the window. Of course, my View menu again would let me find that error. So your View menu is a good place to find things if they're missing or if they've disappeared out of your Visual Studio view. Now we're not going to talk about our C# code at this point. We're just talking about Visual Studio. So I'd like to close this project now and then reopen it. So I'm going to close out of the whole thing. Sure, save my changes. Now I'm going to open Visual Studio 2022 again. And this time I have a shortcut, a quick link to that first project that I could use to click on to reopen that project. If my project had disappeared off the recent project list, I could use the Open a Project or Solution option and navigate to that project in my file system. We saved that in my users folder. In my source repos, and I believe that's your default location. And sure enough, there's my first project folder. I'm going to double click to open the folder, and I'm going to find the solution file for my project. Notice that I have my view setting set to details, and I can see that this is a solution file. That's what I want to choose to open the project. So I'll click on that and choose open. My project will reopen in Visual Studio with my program.cs file open in the code window. Enjoy working with Visual Studio. It's a great integrated development environment. It's always considered the Cadillac. It's the development environment that any other development environment is kind of hoping to be. So we're really, it's good that we can use this environment for no cost. So enjoy it and kind of get yourself familiar with it so that you feel comfortable. Thanks.